अच्छा है, पॉडकास्ट बहुत अच्छा है. Has it aged well? सुना मैंने बहुत अच्छा पॉडकास्ट है. Welcome to Has It Aged Well. That was not Anna actually, that was me, Abbas. I know it's hard to believe.
ये तेरा आवाज है, मेरा आवाज है, दोनों में से बता किसका आवाज कैसा है.
अभी तो समझ जाएगा सब कुछ. तेरा लड़की का आवाज, मेरा आदमी का आवाज. Urjita, welcome to the show. As always, my co-host Urjita, who is with me on this particular episode. And today we are discussing a very important film. बहुत ही I don't want to say halki phulki film, but because I was trying to make a Parinda connection, but I can't. We're discussing Parinda, guys, the 1989 Vidhu Vinod Chopra film, gangster movie.
A film that Dove shampoo could have very well sponsored.
Yes, but they missed out on the opportunity by a couple of decades.
Yeah.
We're discussing Parinda, which stars Anil Kapoor, Jackie Shroff, Madhuri Dixit, Suresh Oberoi, Anupam Kher, quite a few big names from that era. And to discuss the movie with us, we have with us Sudarshan. Sudarshan, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You run a very interesting page on Instagram called Not Viral, which is spelled as NOTWHYRAL.
Because viral wasn't available.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
जो भी available था, I just
You went with it.
Yeah.
But I have to say you're very funny on Twitter, on Twitter, on Instagram.
Yeah, even on Twitter, I'm
even
funny.
on Twitter, you're funny. You also run another page called Pseudo in Pseudo, which is like your personal page. Where
that's where I sell drugs.
Yeah.
This is
well, now you know which page to follow, listeners and viewers.
ये सब बातें नहीं करते, ये जाने वाला है Spotify और YouTube पे.
NCB, it's okay.
So we'll get to why Sudarshan chose this film and why he loves this film. He's actually bought notes.
But also before everything, I would like to introduce Sudarshan की introduce मतलब ऐसे not formal introduction. Sudarshan
पूरा ऐसा पानी फेर दे मेरे intro पे. हाँ.
क्या नहीं, अरे यार ये क्या है.
नहीं करो इंट्रोड्यूस करो.
ये ले तारीफ हो रही है, तारीफ भाई लोग. ये सुदर्शन इज द काइंड ऑफ गाय जो तुम जब भी कोई शो देखोगे और कोई मूवी व्हाटएवर एंड तुम्हारे दिमाग में जो एक थॉट होगा ना कि यार ये ऐसा क्यों नहीं हुआ, तुम ट्विटर पे जाके सुदर्शन ने वही सेम चीज ट्वीट किया रहेगा. एग्जैक्ट सेम थिंग मेरे साथ इतने बार हुआ है ये. एवरी टाइम लाइक व्हेन आई वॉच्ड कॉफी विद करण का महिप कपूर वाला एपिसोड, उसमें शी वाज फैंटास्टिक इन द रैपिड फायर राउंड, बट शी डिडंट विन. इनफैक्ट उसको सबसे कम स्कोर्स मिले. सो दैट वाज लाइक यार, एंड देन आई लॉग्ड आउट एंड देन सुदर्शन का एक्चुअली महिप ने जीतना चाहिए था. बट आउट ऑफ कॉन्टेक्स्ट महिप ने जीतना चाहिए था. दैट्स जिसको समझ रहा है उसको समझ रहा है, बाकी लोग फालतू में ये करे. So
basically all the thoughts that you don't say out loud, Sudarshan voices it
for the
you.
people.
For the people. By Sudarshan for the people.
Yes.
Cool. So we will get into the meat of the episode and talk about Parinda on Has It Aged Well on the other side of this break. We'll see you right after this.
Hey everyone, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Vartalab, Akash and Naveen are joined by Sushant Divgikar, aka Rani Kohinoor. They talk about queer representation in the film and TV industry and how Sushant got the chance to be a part of the international show Queen of the Universe. We have a brand new show. It's called Page 10. The show has panelists discussing some piping hot topics from politics to current affairs and much more. This week, Abbas, Jalasmi, Meghnad and Nikhil discuss about the FIFA World Cup, Jama Masjid banning the entry of women alone and much more. New episodes out every Monday. On this round is on me, Gauri Devidayal welcomes the CEO of Now Spirits, Anand Virmani. He walks us through the history of gin in India and the world. And on Explain Like I'm 10, Meghnad is joined by Anushka Shah, founder of Civic Studio and IVM's social media head, Farah Romane, to discuss about what exactly is content. Once again, do not forget to visit our merch store on ivmpodcast.com. Y'all can find some really cool and exciting stuff over there for you and your loved ones. Do follow us on social media. We are at IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn. If you like our shows, then do spread the word. You know, it really helps us a lot. And of course, do not forget to rate and review our shows on whatever platform you are listening to them. And do check out youtube.com/IVM Podcast for all our video shows. And finally, we would like to thank our sponsors this week, Bumble, Kotak Privilege Program and HDFC Mutual Fund. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Welcome back to Has It Aged Well. We're talking Parinda. Sudarshan, you are in your 20s. So is Urjita. I am in my 30s. I was 1 year old when this film came out. So technically speaking, I should be the one who should be the most crazy about this film. But confession time. मैंने कल रात को पहली बार परिंदा देखी
क्या बात
शुरू से
कर रहे हो?
आखिर तक.
Oh shit.
और उर्जिता, यू आल्सो आई थिंक सॉ फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम फॉर दिस एपिसोड.
फॉर दिस एपिसोड एंड मेरे को आइडिया ही नहीं था ये मूवी के बारे में. लाइक मैंने उड़ता उड़ता ये नाम सुना था क्वाइट लिटरली. ये परिंदे का, ये परिंदा मूवी थी अनिल कपूर की ग्रेट, जिसमें दिना दिन नहीं कर रहा है वो. तो दिस हैड
But Ram Lakhan came in the same year.
Same year.
Yeah.
Correct,
So then I was like अच्छा ये, but पहली बार इनफैक्ट when I watched the poster I was like यार ये बी ग्रेड मूवी लग रही है, ये क्यों हम डिस्कस कर रहे हैं. And then इसलिए before that मैंने पापा को पूछा, पापा पूरा स्टोरी बताओ. ऐसे मुझे देखने को मन नहीं करेगा. And then he narrated the whole story. And I was like okay cool, spoilers मिल गए, now I can watch it. But I was pleasantly surprised.
Your dad is the unofficial encyclopedia of Has It Aged Well, because he's mentioned in every episode.
Every time.
And your journey of every movie starts with your dad.
या वो भी जब ये एपिसोड सुनते जब भी उनका नाम आता है now I'm interested, now I'll listen. अभी मैं एक एपिसोड में किस में उनका नाम दिया था, इसलिए ये थोड़ा बोरिंग लग रहा है ये वाला एपिसोड, इसमें मजा नहीं आ रहा है, पता नहीं क्या. बट नो ही इज अ बिग बॉलीवुड बफ. तो उन्होंने भी
But you hadn't heard तुमसे मिलके ऐसा लगा? Never?
तुमसे मिलके सुना
Yes.
था,
हाँ,
पर मुझे
तो-
नहीं पता था ये मूवी का है,
अच्छा,
ऐसा है
वैसे.
ये.
Yeah,
ये
even
नहीं
I
पता
didn't know
था.
that.
मुझे ये गाना बहुत it was very popular on radio, and I had of course heard this song, and I knew Parinda, but I really sort of understood its impact because कुछ साल पहले मामी पे उसका स्क्रीनिंग हुआ था, and it was in this section where certain filmmakers were given a choice कि अगर आप लोगों को कोई एक फिल्म दिखाना चाहोगे तो आप कौन सी दिखाओगे, and Anurag Kashyap chose to screen Parinda. And he said Parinda was his inspiration for Satya. And when we did our Satya episode, which you would have heard or seen by now if it's up on YouTube, definitely out on audio, so check that episode out. We'll put the link in the description. I read the book about Satya, which was written by Uday Bhatia, and he has mentioned Parinda almost as much as Satya in a book about Satya. Ki this idea of Bombay as a violent city, as this city के वो city of dreams और romanticization पूरा निकाल के अगर किसी फिल्म ने पहली बार बॉम्बे को ऐसा दिखाया था as is, I was Parinda. So the reason I was saying this because I saw it for the first time, Urjita saw it for the first time, but when we asked you which movie you would like to discuss, Parinda was in your one of your top list.
Yeah.
So what has your history been like
So
with
I
Parinda?
again, like I said, I maybe had heard तुमसे मिलके.
हाँ.
And I just knew कि ये येलो शर्ट पहनता है और ओवर साइज शर्ट. Has it aged well? It has. People, विराट कोहली अभी भी वही पहन रहा है.
हाँ, costumes surprisingly have not aged badly.
हाँ, they have aged well. And by the way, वो जैकी श्रॉफ का he brought his own shirt. He wore only 4 shirts, right?
So the film was famously made on a very shoestring budget.
12
lakhs.
Yeah,
12
yeah,
lakhs.
yeah.
How do you know 12 lakhs?
मैंने भी
We all
पढ़ा.
watched the same video. Okay.
हम सब मेहनत करके आते, ठीक है.
अच्छा.
हाँ.
हाँ.
So तुमसे मिलके is as a song actually is very different from what the rest of the movie
film is about.
Yeah.
But I used to always get confused between this and 1942.
Oh, okay.
So for me ये मुंबई में कहीं रहते हैं फर्स्ट हाफ में, फिर डलहौजी चले जाते हैं. It's the same ना, वही जैकी है, वही अनिल है.
अनिल है, हाँ.
I didn't
Director
know
भी
कि
same
these
है.
are two different films.
हाँ.
But then I watched it maybe last year या कुछ, when I started watching all Vidhu Vinod films.
Okay.
So that's when I watched the whole film from the beginning to end. But it's interesting that you mentioned ये B grade वाला, because कहीं तो I had seen कि after Khamosh release, no one was willing to buy the film.
Right.
And so he wanted
so Khamosh
to...
was Vidhu Vinod Chopra's first
the
film.
first film, yeah. And so he wanted to, I think, start by making a commercial film. I think that was the starting thought.
Okay.
And he mentioned somewhere कि the first line he wrote was कि 2 भाई है, एक भूखा है, वो कहता है कि मुझे भूख लगी है, और बड़ा भाई कहता है कि तू टेंशन मत ले, मैं हूं ना. And that's the most popular trope you have at the
Correct,
time,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
80s में तो वही 2 भाई, एक ये पुलिस बनता है, एक ईमानदार, एक ये. So, and then if you watch the whole film again with that lens, you see कि every popular trope is used. You have your kurta पहन के gangster.
Yeah.
You have all those, even B-grade tropes, you have it in this film.
Yeah.
B grade tropes like.
वही I think तभी violence और यही बिकता था ना. no?
Yeah, I was about to say that they weren't tropes back then. Now they are tropes because we've seen them so many times.
Yeah.
Yeah, और अभी के डायरेक्टर्स में इतनी ओरिजिनलिटी रह नहीं गई है कि वो कुछ नया इंट्रोड्यूस
हाँ.
करेंगे.
But again वो angry young man and उसका rise था ना in that era.
Yeah.
You didn't have the lover.
इस वाले में वो पूरा ट्रांजिशन दिखा था कि द क्यूट एक्साइटेड बबली गाय
हाँ.
turns into an angry young man. I'm like यार ये
रुक कितना excited है यार.
हाँ, like विधु विनोद
Traffic
चोपड़ा ने बोला था
in
कि
his-
भाई इंडियन ऑडियंस इसको सटल चीज समझ में नहीं, तेरे को दिखाना पड़ेगा कि तू पहले बहुत खुश है, तेरी आंखों में से बबल दिखना चाहिए, हार्ट दिखना चाहिए, too happy.
And there is also, he ends every sentence with ऐसा hey. Every sentence is hey.
Like करीना कपूर और ऋतिक रोशन को अपने डेब्यूज के टाइम पे यही मूवी दिखाई थी कि अनिल कपूर ने जो किया है ना, सेम चीज करना है.
नहीं, वो आप अनिल कपूर के मिमिक्री आर्टिस्ट को देखते हो तो जो आवाज निकलते थे
वो shit,
he literally does
this.
So yeah, that's what even Nana, that typical Nana mimicry that everybody does, I kind of see where it comes from. Like, अच्छा है, हाँ, पता है मेरे को, क्या बोला तूने? You know, that whole thing.
Jackie seems like the best actor in this film.
So I have my opinions on that. So I know we reserve our final rating and verdict till the very end. But so I think the technical aspects of this film have aged very well. And there is one, the Mami screening that I was talking about where Anurag Kashyap screened this. After this, they did a discussion and Q&A with Vidhu Vinod Chopra, Anil Kapoor and Jackie Shroff. I highly recommend please watch it because Vidhu Vinod Chopra says a lot of stories and techniques of making this film in that interview. So we'll put a link in the description. So in that, he mentions how much emphasis he gave to the sound of the movie. Like there are particular cuts which happen because of on sound. Like यहाँ पे एक sound बजा तो उसके basis पे cut करके then he linked it with the next scene that is to come. And there is a very beautiful story he says of the New Year scene that happens in the end, which we'll come to. But I think the technical aspects have aged very well. But as a story and as a movie, I felt मेरे को थोड़ा like there's too much happening in the movie. Firstly, I thought the story of these two brothers was unnecessarily too complicated, especially towards the end. कि एक टाइम में मेरे को समझ में आ रहा कि अच्छा ये Karan is Anil Kapoor's character's name,
Kishan
right?
नहीं है क्या?
Kishan is Jackie.
अच्छा,
Karan
Kishan.
is
Karan.
Anil Kapoor. हमने कहा Karan क्या कर रहा है, किसके side पे है? And then there's Tom Alter who's playing Musa, who's also doing little bit of this and that. So on the whole, it felt a little, and the film is always on a scale of like it's always at 11. Everybody's yelling, everybody's angry, everybody is josh mein. So by the end, I was a little exhausted by the movie. And of course, I am comparing this to a Satya, I am comparing this to a Company and all the films.
But Satya came to 90s mein.
Of course, so Satya learned the best things from this and made it its own. So the language of Satya, and we discussed this in the Satya episode, is a little more natural. It's more vicious than Parinda. So that's what I felt overall. What did you feel?
I feel like the point that you made कि सत्या ने उसके अच्छे points उसके उठाए, तो I feel अनुराग कश्यप और राम गोपाल वर्मा ने ये मूवी देखते टाइम सोचा रहेगा कि यार अपने को ना साइड कैरेक्टर्स के ऊपर मूवी बनानी है. गुंडे के जो जितने सारे साइड कैरेक्टर्स होते हैं ना, तो सब साइड कैरेक्टर्स लाइक भाई मतलब I feel like they were just like throughout the movie they were यार ये मूसा क्या कर रहा है, मूसा क्यों नहीं आ रहा, मूसा मेरे को मूसा का देखना है स्टोरी, मूसा कैसे बात करता है मेरे को देखना है. एंड दैट इज व्हाई दे मेड लाइक यू कैन लिटरली इमेजिन देम टॉकिंग कि अच्छा हम ना ऐसे पे बनाएंगे ऐसे वाले. देख अगर कोई एक कैरेक्टर है, अगर हम साइड कैरेक्टर्स बनाए तो उसमें से भी कोई अल्फा बीटा होना चाहिए.
Yeah, the Kallu Mama thing, like the Kallu Mama character in this would be somewhere in the background, but they took it and like, what if he was like a, you know,
exactly.
not main guy, but someone who a whole thing can be based around. So yeah.
So for me, matlab, I watched it the second time last night before coming here. And the second time I watched it, everything felt like it made sense. Like every little element had a purpose, including the lighter. Lighter का character arc है यार.
Oh yeah.
वो lighter भी end में पूरा.
And वो समझ में भी यार, like I feel like they have not been too subtle with it. क्योंकि वो जैकी श्रॉफ जब भी वो कैब में कार में बैठे रहते हैं, जैकी श्रॉफ ऐसे अपना सिगरेट लेता है, and ये बोलता है कि हे भैया, and then उसके ऊपर unnecessary zoom in.
नहीं वो अच्छा.
And I'm like okay ये क्या brand placement है
क्या है? unnecessary नहीं है यार, मस्त किया.
I know that connection है.
You have pissed off Sudarshan.
So I'm like no unnecessary नहीं. So while watching I was like ये क्या unnecessary, and then I was like अच्छा okay I know इसका call back करने वाले end में. I figured because उन्होंने इतना zoom in किया because they were like कि audience को समझ में आना चाहिए कुछ तो लिख के आने वाला.
पर यार सिंगल स्क्रीन में लोग बात करते हैं यार, वो दिखाना पड़ता है थोड़ा.
Actually yeah. So
मैं लाल सिंह देखने गया, आधा डायलॉग लोगों ने मिस कर दिया यार, लोग बात ही कर रहे हैं. तो I think you have to.
I think you need to get rid of
I
your
I'm here
noisy
to
friends.
defend the film. You
Yeah,
guys can.
you have
throw
a
your-
good 3-4 pages of
Yeah,
notes,
6
Sudarshan.
pages. Yeah,
So
I'm ready.
tell us what you would like to talk about, and we'll take it from there.
I was about to say something. I think I forgot. क्या बोल रहा था मैं अभी तो
Cigarette,
कुछ
side
cigarette-
character.
Okay,
cigarette.
lighter का भी arc है. Everything
Lighter.
made
हाँ,
sense
everything
to
has
you.
arc and even मूसा का like the second time I watched it I realized कि मूसा सबके साइड पे है.
Right.
तो मूसा नाना को भी इन्फॉर्मेशन दे रहा है, जैकी को भी बोल रहा है कि नाना उसे मारने जा रहा है और अनिल को भी हेल्प कर रहा है एंड ही नोज कि ये सब एक दूसरे को खा जाएंगे.
I have a question.
Yes.
What is the reason? ये मैंने बहुत ढूंढना, कहीं पे भी इसका आंसर नहीं मिला. सुरेश ओबेरॉय फ्लूट क्यों प्ले कर रहा है?
हाँ, ये आपको
इसका
बताना मेरे को
आंसर
बताना.
है
अब
विनोद
बताओ.
चोपड़ा
हाँ.
के इंटरव्यू में.
अच्छा, okay, वो
So the role was supposed to be played by Danny Denzongpa, and Danny plays flute in real life. Like that, he has that skill.
Oh.
So Vidhu Vinod Chopra was once hanging out with Danny, and he was playing the flute. And Vidhu Vinod Chopra was like, "यार इसको कहीं use करना चाहिए किसी film में." And then he wrote this thing. That's the technical reason. The reason for the character is that it symbolizes his loneliness.
Suresh Oberoi.
Suresh Oberoi Khan, I think
He's also Afghani
Abdul
accent
Khan,
में बात
I think
करता
his
है.
name is. हाँ. So he's this Afghani Pathan guy who's supposed to be really tough and really ferocious. But somewhere deep inside there is a loneliness in him. And Vidhu Vinod Chopra says कि एक कोई long shot है जहाँ पे he's playing a flute in a shadow. And while the camera is panning just before it leaves his frame, there is a little thing where he's wiping a tear off after playing the flute. So that was supposed to be the reason for that.
नहीं, मैं 5वीं बार देखती तो भी मेरे को समझ में नहीं आता कि
नहीं, but
इसका
cool
दिल
है
है.
यार वो ऐसा.
I was thinking that has it got like some, क्योंकि Godfather में भी काफी similar music बज रही है. तो I was like कि इनको भी वही करना था क्या? But they were like कि हम दिखाएंगे अपने बैकग्राउंड आर्टिस्ट को भी, लेकिन म्यूजिक भी अपना ही आदमी बजा रहा है और म्यूजिक के ऊपर एक्ट भी अपने ही आदमी कर रहा है. I thought like maybe ऐसा कुछ होगा.
So
But
this
that
was
is
another
interesting.
thing that was important about this film is all the henchmen had some sort of a backstory. Like the guy who helps Anil Kapoor, उसका एक पैर नहीं है तो उसका पैर क्यों नहीं है उसकी भी एक बैक स्टोरी है.
मेरी
वो
एक टांग
फ्रांसिस
नकली है.
क्या intimidating लगता है.
मेरी एक
Yes.
टांग नकली है. हॉकी का खिलाड़ी हूँ.
Yeah.
And why
Maybe
on-
he
and
walked so.
he walked so
The
this
guy
guy
from
could
Welcome
run.
could
this
fly
guy could run
or
in the
not
climax.
run.
No, in the climax he did run.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
But also that brings me to a very important point कि I just while watching the movie I realized Nana Patekar in Welcome he plays the parody of all his other gunda characters.
Oh,
Yeah, actually,
हाँ,
yeah.
हाँ,
If you
हाँ.
think about it, ये काफी चीजें सिमिलर थी.
Right.
कि संजना मेरी बहन ये वो ऐसा वैसा मुझे भी गुंडागर्दी करनी है ये वो. एंड देन इन द मूवी वेलकम मूवी के भी सेकंड हाफ में लाइक या गुंडागर्दी. एक्चुअली मूवीज में ज्यादा स्कोप है. सो आई फील लाइक ही इज प्लेइंग. आई डोंट नो इफ ही इंटेंशनली, आई डोंट नो इफ ही इज कूल इनफ टू डू दैट, और आई डोंट नो इफ द डायरेक्टर इज स्मार्ट इनफ टू मेक हिम डू इट विदाउट लाइक यू नो.
Well, the
I
director
think
was
उतना ही
Anis.
आता होगा
The
यार.
director was Anis Basmi, so.
Oh right, हाँ, he wouldn't
Yeah.
give these things.
एंड ऑल्सो विधु विनोद चोपड़ा का कैरेक्टर एक्टिंग, विधु विनोद चोपड़ा का रियल लाइफ मूवी आर्क, वो पहले उसने गुंडों के ऊपर सीरियस मूवीज बनाए, देन ही मेड फन ऑफ द होल थिंग बाय मेकिंग मुन्ना भाई. Even though Rajkumar Hirani made the movie, but
Yeah.
Vidhu Vinod Chopra was the
Produced it,
producer,
yeah,
and
yeah.
of course, like I'm
Yeah.
sure उसका भी.
Nasir was supposed to play Jackie's role.
Yes.
And then it went to.
So-
But मैं sorry, sound cuts वाला I was saying
Yeah.
कि even I saw that interview of Mami where he talks about sound cuts. There was one बहुत interesting, like I noticed when I watched it again, I noticed कि they waste no time in a scene where there is no drama. So around the midpoint of the film अपना Karan goes to Kishan and says कि I'm starting work from tomorrow and मैं एक कंपनी के मालिक को जानता हूँ, उनके पास जा रहा हूँ. And he says कौन सा मालिक? Karan walks out of the room and Kishan shouts Karan, Karan. Cut to Karan, Kishan is barging into this Nana Patekar का room and Karan is there. तो वो बीच में like in any other film I think you would waste time बीच में, but from one dramatic scene to the other dramatic scene immediately he keeps jumping. And multiple जगह पे this happens throughout the film where they waste no time using sound cuts से फट जाते रहते हैं, which is very interesting.
Yeah. You mentioned The Godfather, so the cinematographer Binod Pradhan said The Godfather was his primary influence when it came to lighting the film, and I think it shows because if you've seen The Godfather, the browns and blacks of the shadows are very prominent, और इस film में भी वो बहुत prominent है. And I think that what you said, what differentiates this movie from a B-grade movie is these little touches that it still looks very good. Even the background score is not the over the top background
अरे
score.
R.D. Burman did it.
R.D. Burman
Yeah.
did the music. I think he also did the background score. There is one point
At a
where
time when no one wanted to
do
with
it. Yeah, the gateway scene where Suresh Oberoi shows up to shoot them. They play a classical music piece, Ride of the Valkyries, for that, which I don't think anybody up till that point had done. So I think this is what makes it important. Is ke Vidhu Vinod Chopra had passed out of FTI, and his first film Khamosh was a film with Shabana Azmi, Nasiruddin Shah, Amol Palekar, all these parallel cinema legendary kind of actors, and it bombed. So then he was like कि नहीं अब तो मैं मतलब तोड़ के मेन स्ट्रीम ही बनाऊंगा कि तुम कितना भी कर लो. But then you can see his art film वाला touches like this, that he'll use classical music, Western classical music instead of a loud background score. So yeah, I think that's what.
So you know, in the opening of the film एक dead आदमी करता है, right?
हाँ.
That's Vinod Chopra.
Vinod Chopra.
And in the end you have dead man Vinod Chopra credits. I think he did it just for that. कि एंड में क्योंकि डायरेक्टर क्रेडिट्स तो नहीं है एंड क्रेडिट्स में, यू जस्ट हैव कास्ट इन ऑर्डर ऑफ अपीयरेंस. नाना पाटेकर, डेड मैन, विनोद चोपड़ा. आई थिंक वो बस किक्स के लिए कर दिया वो. बट इवन इन दैट शॉट आई रिमेंबर्ड इट बिकॉज वो लाइटिंग दे जस्ट शो द शैडो, राइट? इवन इन द लव मेकिंग सीन इन द एंड
you saw that very concentrate कर.
शर्माने वाली कोई बात नहीं है. अरे
ठीक है यार, adults here.
अरे समझिए, आप समोसे
मैं
लीजिए.
थोड़ा
और क्या?
इंटेंस बोलने वाला था कि ऐसे वो लोग ने दे ट्राइड नॉट टू, वो विसल वाला सीन हो रहा था ना तभी
हाँ.
कि people would whistle, so Vinod Chopra and his then wife shot it at home with torches, showed it to Madhuri.
अच्छा.
And then
एक्चुअली व्हेन आई थिंक अबाउट इट कि मैंने कोई भी गाने ना ऐसे
फालतू में
रुक
ले
के
लिया यार मेरी.
देखे.
आता हूँ मैं वापस.
Sorry, वैसे ही करती था.
तो एक
It's okay यार.
नहीं it's okay. Yeah.
Erotic scene is erotic scene. It's also filmmaking.
नहीं वो
Yeah.
B grade, yeah, right किशन शाह. हाँ सही है.
That's
वो
the-
किशन शाह इधर किशन शाह कांति शाह का भाई है by the way.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh damn, I did not know that.
He's not as successful as Kanti Shah, which is why I know him.
Yeah.
इमेजिन उनके फैमिली डिनर्स कितने अजीब होते होंगे ना. सब लोग बैठ रहे हैं, कांति शाह बोल रहे हैं पैसे तो मैं ही कमा रहा हूँ.
हाँ.
और
क्या
कर लो
दिखा के कमा रहे हो?
बट उसने बोला था कि माधुरी दीक्षित वाज नॉट दैट बिग एन एक्ट्रेस एट दैट टाइम, एंड नाना पाटेकर वाज आल्सो. नाना पाटेकर को भी उसने एक प्ले कर रहा था वो दादर में कहीं पे, एंड ही सॉ हिज एक्टिंग एंड ही रियली लाइक्ड हिज रोल. एंड उधर भी वो कर रहा था, ठीक है समझाना, अच्छा है, एंड देन ही वाज लाइक ये
पूरा
सही
करियर
है.
चला दिया यार.
या सो देन ही पिक्ड हिम अप फ्रॉम देयर.
हाँ.
एंड आई थिंक जैकी श्रॉफ एंड अनिल कपूर वर डिसेंट एक्टर्स, बट कोई भी सुपरस्टार नहीं था वो मूवी के टाइम पे. सो दैट्स व्हाई इट वाज इजी फॉर देम टू लाइक यू नो दैट ही. उसने क्लियरली बोला कि मैंने प्योरली एक्टिंग टैलेंट के बेसिस पे लिया है. कोई भी ऐसा नहीं था कि भाई तेरा स्टारडम है, तेरी वजह से
जैकी तो सामने से बोल दिया आई कांट एक्ट.
Yeah.
You know that
हाँ.
story, right?
At this
Again,
point,
वो
we're
मामी.
just reiterating
We're just
the interview.
reiterating. Yeah.
मैंने इसलिए मैं वो इंटरव्यू देख के नहीं आई, तो मेरा सब फ्रेश ज्ञान है. ठीक है.
No, but the movie took almost 3 years to make. So I think Madhuri, by the time this movie came out, had become a little popular. Because I think this film came out after Tezab, which was a really big hit, and also Ram Lakhan that
Yeah.
same year.
R.D. Burman, yeah. So R.D. Burman was going through a bad phase back then, right? So Ram Lakhan में Subhash Ghai had asked him for songs first.
Okay.
And then he went to Lakshmikant Pyarelal, which R.D. Burman didn't like. It was very uncommon back then कि ऐसा हो. Like it's a trust तोड़ने वाली बात हो गई ना कि आपने पहले मेरे पास आए and then you got it done by someone else. So he was in a very low phase and no one wanted to work with him.
Why nobody wanted to work with him?
नहीं चल रहे थे गाने.
अच्छा, okay.
हाँ.
Yeah, I mean, 80s, he was way past his prime in the 80s, and many of his soundtracks didn't do well then, until again when in 1942 A Love Story, which
When
was
the
his
Lover
last
Boy,
movie, where he again I'm quoting Vidhu Vinod Chopra, where he says the first scratches that Burman played for him, Vidhu Vinod Chopra said के दादा ये तो एकदम shit है.
हाँ.
And then R.D. Burman took like a week or a month off and came back with some new
No, he
tunes.
pointed at a photo of S.D. Burman and said कि I want that but he's not
okay.
alive, so you are alive just
Okay.
to me.
Wow, what a
Yeah, that's
dick move by Vidhu Vinod
Wow.
Chopra.
ये मतलब ये
And he
स्टेप
was
फादरली
already-
ट्रीटमेंट दे रहा है विदु
Yeah.
विनोद चोपड़ा
हाँ,
इसको.
And then he gave
but
him...
work कर गया.
and then he
next day
died
आके-
after giving 1942 a love story.
Like I'll also be that now. म्यूजिक में और लाइफ में भी.
But
बहुत
did
dark
you
हो
know?
गया है.
Did you know तुमसे मिलके ऐसा लगा is a rip off of an English song?
That's okay. I can forgive. That's okay यार. तुमसे it's a nice song. It's okay. I don't want to
Desperate
listen
times,
to it.
desperate measures.
हाँ.
कोई बात नहीं यार, do love you.
Yeah, the way it's shot also, like Bhansali did the whole thing.
Oh yes,
And
Bhansali
you
was
can
an associate
see कि ये
director
Bhansali ने
on
किया
this. And Urjita, while I was looking up, so Binod Pradhan is the cinematographer, like I mentioned. Renu Saluja is the editor, and we've actually we've covered 2 films that they've worked on our show before this, Devdas and Rang De Basanti, where these both were involved. Binod Pradhan shot Rang De Basanti, and Renu Saluja edited Devdas.
Renu
So,
Saluja, wasn't she one of the first female editors of Bollywood?
I think she must have been, yeah,
'Cause
back then.
Yeah.
She got a lifetime achievement award in the last Critics' Choice Awards.
Ah,
Film
okay.
Companion के. I know this because I wrote the show.
वो humble brag.
Co-wrote.
Yeah.
Flex.
इसीलिए वो फिल्म के पहले का उसने इंटरव्यू देखा नहीं, बोले मैं तो लिखती हूँ इनके लिए, मुझे इंटरव्यू देखने की क्या जरूरत है. At this point we'll take a short break. When we come back we'll talk some more Parinda with Sudarshan, and I want to know the answer of why you think the film was called Parinda. So we'll see you on the other side of this break.
I have a very funny story. Can I say it? Hi, I'm Shweta. I'm Navya's mother.
Hi, I'm Shweta. I'm Navya's mother.
I am Navya's nanny. My name is Jaya Bachchan.
I got nothing over here, guys.
It's a big day for me. Okay, start. What the hell?
I was saying something very nice and empowering, and you just interrupted me.
Don't complain. Don't explain. Never explain.
Let me say it.
I have my little secrets. Hello, madam. How are you? I got your number. I told you don't get me started. Mom. When you want to do money pinching, you're also very good. I've seen you. I've noticed. I finished these many books. You're still on your first book. I finished so many books. I'm like, what the hell?
Leave me alone.
Definition of love has changed today. I'm too old for all this. Navya, there's a wonderful lake. Go and jump into
And
it.
drown
and
in
drown.
it.
And she does.
Oh my God! Stop!
What are you saying?
What the hell? It's important to have friends.
My best friends have been Navya and Shweta.
Aww. I have a problem saying no.
You better learn. It's the
the
best,
best word.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
Okay.
What the hell?
What the hell, Navya? You're saying this podcast is called What the Hell, Navya? I have at least 3 What the Hell, Navya episodes in a day.
Welcome back to Has It Aged Well. My name is Abbas. I'm still here with Urjita and Sudarshan talking about Vidhu Vinod Chopra's Parinda from 89. So guys, why do you think the film is called Parinda? Because the initial title was Kabutar Khana, which is where most pivotal scenes in the film happen, where
Yeah.
Anupam Kher gets shot, where Kishan and Karan have that altercation towards the end. So why Parinda?
All the pigeons have this illusion of freedom. तुमको लगता है तुम कहीं पे भी जा सकते नहीं, पर खाना खाने के लिए तो इधर ही आना पड़ता है ना. मतलब you are tied to my.
I also had a similar idea of what Urjita just mentioned, that जब आप परिंदे के बारे में सोचते हो तो you think of freedom, but they're not really that free. Just like in this movie, anybody who wants to get away from Anna's gang or Musa's gang, they can't, because at the end of the day they will have to come back and मतलब वो मोहताज बन जाते हैं इन लोगों के अंडरवर्ल्ड के, क्राइम के.
And also I like Nana Patekar's dialogues, because towards the end he also convinces you कि मतलब देख मैंने उसको इन्वॉल्व किया नहीं, करण खुद चल के मेरे पास है, मेरे को तो आपकी गैंग का हिस्सा बनना है, मैंने कुछ बोला नहीं. बट इफ यू थिंक अबाउट इट, ही वाज द वन हु स्टार्टेड एवरीथिंग बाय. नाना पाटेकर ने पहले ही सीन में बोल दिया था किशन को कि भाई तेरा भाई उसका दोस्त है तो ही विल लीड अस टू प्रकाश. तो उसी he only started everything.
Yeah.
So even though he gave us the illusion of कि नहीं भाई देख तू खुद चल के मेरे पास आया था, अब क्या तू मेरे धंधे में हाथ डालेगा तो मैं तेरे को मारेगा नहीं क्या, of course तेरा मर्डर करेगा, but no, you only started the whole thing.
Yeah, he seems like a master manipulator because at some point I think one of the cops says कि वो खुद कुछ नहीं करता है. He gets everybody else to do the bad work for him. So you can't really directly lead back to him.
Yeah, as managers, this is how you get people
Exactly,
to work.
yeah.
You can work after 6, but only if you want to.
Yeah,
तो
but you
उनको
need to
लगेगा
finish
कि-
your job
हाँ,
too.
हाँ,
You
हाँ,
you it's okay if you leave before 6, but finish
But
your
finish
job.
your job.
Did you just compare your boss to Anna?
No,
The
I'm the
underworld
boss.
one.
I'm Anna. I do this. But, yeah.
but
ये
sorry,
तेरा
guys.
सैलरी है, ये तेरा पेचेक है, ये तेरा CTC है, दोनों में से बोल तेरा कितना मेरा कितना, इनकम टैक्स का
Yeah.
कितना.
Vidhu Vinod Chopra remade this same film in Hollywood in the early 2000s, and it was like a pretty good budget with some good actors and everything, and the setting he chose for that film was the Wild Wild West. Okay, he called that film Broken Horses. And in that film, just the same way, जहाँ इस फिल्म में कबूतरों के ऊपर जितना emphasis दिया है, the emphasis is on horses in that film. So it didn't work in Hollywood, and it got pretty bad reviews and everything. And the Anna role was played by Vincent D'Onofrio, who now plays Kingpin in the Marvel TV shows. So he worked with a pretty good cast and everything, but it didn't work. So yeah, there is an animal motif kind of a thing where you can apply pretty much the same thing to horses. That when you think of horses, you think of them running freely,
Right.
but at the end of the day, they're still under a leash by
Oh,
some.
Kabutar Khana would be about the place, but Parinda is about the...
Yeah, so you are right. Hey,
Nice,
as always, this has happened many times by the way on this show कि मैंने ऐसे कोई randomly बात बोली, पता चला गुरुदत्त ने भी same बात बोली थी. And I'm like, guys,
सुदर्शन भी वही सोच रहे हैं. ये क्या हो रहा है?
I might be, I think I might be great artist.
You mean
great philosopher.
you mean Gurudat Banta hai?
Yeah, Gurudat Banta है. That's
हाँ, चुप टू.
चुप.
Tu chup. What do you have to say about the portrayal of Bombay in this? Because like we mentioned, the Kabutar Khana, the Babulnath Mandir that is portrayed, Gateway, there is Wadi Bandar ka port, everything.
Yeah.
Did you feel I also again referring back to that same interview where one Q&A के दौरान एक बंदे ने पूछा था कि आपने बॉम्बे को ऐसे घोस्ट टाउन जैसा बताया है कि कोई है नहीं and every streets are empty, and Vidhu Vinod Chopra was like, that's how Bombay was in the 80s, like it's not like everything was too crowded. So yeah,
ghost.
मेरे पास तो दो
इतना.
questions है for you,
yes,
because you were there, you were 1 year old, you have
I
seen
was
the
1
Bombay,
year old.
right? You have seen
And
the
as most 1 year olds, I have recollected all the memories from then.
So when we think of those मतलब 90s Bombay or even 80s Bombay, मेरे दिमाग में कलर्स फिल्म वाला ही आता है, वो ग्रेन्स के साथ. मेरे को लगता है कि जो वहाँ रह रहे होंगे, they must have seen it with the grains. I can't imagine.
No, but I'll tell you
कि
what,
would it...
there are some sensations which it triggers something. Like for example, people are going around in Fiats and Ambassadors, okay, which you don't see on roads anymore. And I have seen that time when Fiats and Ambassadors were normal cars. The specific brand of Mercedes that Anna roams in, it used to be like that very rare sight के जहाँ पे ये देखने को मिलता है.
But the clothes, like, because they aren't as
Clothes,
colorful.
I think, yeah, but clothes are something where again you don't notice them as much when you are in that era.
Exactly.
Like 7-8 years from now, we'll probably look at, or 15 years from now, we'll look at footage of this. We'll be like, kya hai yaar? Like, why did I dress the way I did back then, right? So I think, and also I was a kid back then. मेरी मम्मी जो पहनाती थी मैं पहन लेता था. Fashion sense ज़्यादा था नहीं.
I think you remember the era only if any memories are attached to the objects around you. Like I don't remember much about the early 2000s. maybe 1998 kid हूँ.
Oh,
तो,
right. मेरे को भी याद नहीं है.
So I don't remember much about it, but I just remember like traveling in an uncle's car जो Maruti 800 थी.
हाँ.
That is all that I remember. That was different. कि बाद में I realized कि Maruti 800 अभी नहीं मिलती. That is the only thing that I remember. Otherwise for me मुझे इतना कुछ अलग फर्क समझ में नहीं आता because मैंने भी जिंदगी जी है. तो थोड़ी बहुत.
हाँ. But what did you think about Bombay?
No, so yeah, I mean things like that. Like there are some aerial shots of Marine Drive where the only two prominent buildings you can see is the Air India building and the what was then Oberoi is now Trident, right? Now when people click those Queen's Necklace photos on social media or Instagram, firstly the pictures are so high definition कि हर एक street light का भी light दिख रहा है, you know, everything is so sharp, so well lit. Whereas back then that's how it was, like once post sunset, it's not like the street lights were very bright or anything, so those two buildings stood out like that. So,
in reality you wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, because of course the equipment back then was not like they could capture the light of the photo, and secondly there were less buildings and less light and less hoardings, so there was that whole.
Shit, I didn't think about this. यार अंधेरा ज़्यादा रहा होगा तभी. Oh, nice.
And
but why does everyone seem to be wearing white in every like old picture of Bombay? Everyone's wearing white. I don't know. I've seen this.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't notice this?
No.
I'll tell you the reason behind this. Because वो टाइम पे पॉटहोल्स थे, करेक्ट, बट उतने लोग नहीं थे, तो लोग है नहीं तो गाड़ी चलाएगा कौन, और गाड़ी चलाएंगे नहीं तो फिर धब्बे कैसे आएंगे सर पे, तो इसलिए वाइट पहनने का
खुद भी कूद सकते हैं यार पुनीत सुपरस्टार.
ऐसे हम तो नहीं कूदते, आपका बता नहीं भाई साहब हमको.
मैं शायद मेरा अपब्रिंगिंग थोड़ा.
So we did not speak about Shiv Kumar Subramaniam, who's
the writer,
screenplay writer of the film, who also played Francis in the movie.
Yeah.
So he unfortunately passed away. I think a year ago. I think last year he passed away. And you must have seen him in other films also. He was in Kamine, and he
2 states.
He's in 2 states, and he's worked in television also. And I think a lot of credit for this goes to him as well, because like you said, the treatment of the movie was done in a way where all these characters that we're talking about.
But you guys didn't like the writing. I liked it.
I never said I didn't like.
अरे अभी तो बोल रहे थे आप लोग.
No, I was the one who said that everything is.
मैंने नहीं बोला सब.
मैं बस कॉन्फ्लिक्ट ढूंढ रहा हूँ मैं थोड़ा सा.
क्यों झगड़ा लगा रहा है दोनों?
थोड़ा आशुतोष गवारीकर साजिद खान वाला.
I'm not saying I don't like the writing. I don't know how to put it. It's like if the central question of this show is has it aged well, I would say it doesn't seem as unique now as it might have back then.
Because so many things about that movie got absorbed later
exactly.
on. This is nice sentence I learned from Abbas. उसने एक एपिसोड में बताया था, मैं कि ये अब हर जगह बोलने वाली है. ये सेम.
मेरी बिल्ली मुझे से मियाओ. Nice.
हाँ.
But
Shiv Kumar, we were talking
I liked
about.
it. When I watched that movie, like पूरा मैंने start to end तक देखा, and because it was so fast paced, तो इसलिए मैंने phone एक भी बार नहीं उठाया. Songs for some reason I did not like. इतना slow, fast paced songs में तुमसे मिल.
But can I just say,
after
having covered हम आपके हैं कौन, where there is a song every 6 minutes, I was very glad that this film did not have that many songs. जो थोड़े बहुत थे, there were also good songs, and there's that song towards the end that Jackie Shroff is singing about his marriage, where there is Shirdi Wale Sai Baba is also in the movie, and Hum Honge Kamyab is also in the movie.
The main song is वो वाला ना.
Yes, I know the song that you're talking about.
Basically प्यार से जीतेंगे, ताकत से नहीं जीतेंगे. Which plays with the lighter.
Yes, and didn't you find it a little odd that जब Karan आता है, अनिल कपूर अमेरिका से आता है, he's so excited to meet Anupam Kher, and then there is this whole thing where he leaves his house and he's singing the song
in the car,
and then Anupam Kher is driving the police jeep and he's singing his song.
Yeah.
I found a little bit of like undertone of some homoeroticism there, because no two straight men are that happy to meet each other after that many years.
I have seen that.
And then they meet and then they hug each other and they're so happy, and then he loses.
Shows the wedding ring.
He shows the wedding ring to him.
Prakash is hesitant. He's saying कि बहन से शादी करेगा उससे पूछ ले. Yeah.
And then a couple of people come and they pierce the bullets in the back, and then he dies in his arms. It's a bit of something there. I think. Yeah.
But I think वो टाइम पे innocence था काफी.
No, I'm not saying it's intentional.
Even that scene where Madhuri and Anil meet for the first time at the temple. Madhuri उससे बात नहीं कर रही है, मेरे को पता नहीं क्यों. उसको थोड़ी like why wasn't Madhuri talking to Anil? She didn't know कि
because it was a strange man trying to talk to her in
No,
outside
Anil
of a
माधुरी
temple.
बचपन के दोस्त
अरे
है.
Oh,
नहीं,
right, हाँ.
temple और sequence was after he gets murdered. Madhuri gets
after he
introduced.
gets murdered,
Of
right?
course, that's why
तो why
she's not
wouldn't she
talking.
talk to Anil यार? Anil का क्या कसूर है?
अरे वही तो, I did not see the movie properly. वो dead body जब भी
Ouch.
आती है,
Shots fired.
वो dead body जब भी दिखाता है माधुरी को, that is her entry, right? तो तभी वो जो पुलिस इंस्पेक्टर होता है वो उसको बताता है पूरा कि
sorry. Got it.
करण ने उसको
Okay,
बुलाया
now
यहाँ
it
पे.
makes sense. Okay, then my question is waste. नहीं, but
Okay.
हाँ, my question was कि माधुरी बहुत जल्दी से she flips, right? She's sad. भाई मर गया. मैं तुमसे शादी करती हूँ.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
over here also I noticed something that both of them are classic manipulators. Madhuri and Anil Kapoor both.
माधुरी को कुछ मत
Hey,
बोलो.
माधुरी है, मैं
That's where we
बताती
draw
हूँ.
the
did you
line.
notice
Sorry.
that Madhuri's name was Paro and in Devdas she was
Yeah, that-
Chandramukhi?
हाँ.
Oh yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah.
You were saying they were classic manipulators.
हाँ यार.
And Bhansali was the associate director on this. Just
Oh,
putting
yeah.
it out there.
So he
Oh,
was like कि
shit.
तू पारो specifically नहीं.
नहीं बनेगी.
हाँ.
So
तूने
anyway.
एक बुरा काम किया था. मुझे चंद्रमुखी बना
What
दिया.
did you think of Madhuri's character? I thought she was barely in the movie.
No. उसका
just
agency तो
love
नहीं है,
interest.
agency नहीं है
She was
उसका.
just there to die in
But
the
she
end.
did drive the plot थोड़ा सा बीच में, मतलब ऐसे 20 की स्पीड पे ड्राइव किया, बट किया उसने. जब भी अनिल कपूर had made up his mind कि वो नहीं बताएगा, पुलिस के पास गवाही नहीं देगा, तो वो दरवाजे में मिलते, इसलिए क्यों नहीं बताओगे? तुमने तो डिसाइड किया था ना कि इसी वजह से तो आई मैरी
वो
यू.
पुलिस के पास गया ही उसके वजह से था ना. वो तो जैकी
Yeah.
बोलता है, माधुरी नहीं बोलती.
Yeah,
but
so
Jackie-
then जब भी माधुरी उसको वापस मिलती है, so then he again changes his mind.
That's what I'm talking about. There's too much complication towards the second half of the movie, where I was like, "Ke, this movie stands up as a technical masterpiece, but story-wise, I thought it was a little convoluted."
But actually हम like
नहीं यार,
in
हम
real
शाम
life
को
हम
एक वॉच पार्टी करते हैं, वापस
फिर
देखते
से?
हैं मोनो.
फिर से रिकॉर्ड
अच्छी है यार,
करेंगे.
मैं बता रहा हूँ
नहीं
आपको.
अच्छी है, I'm not
see
denying.
the thing is, but ये human है. How often does it
And
happen
then
that you
even-
make up your mind about
I
something
think
and you
the
don't
writing is
change it?
perfect.
No,
मतलब
even
when I
in
watched
the
it the
end,
second time.
if you remember when Anil and Madhuri are getting married, and Kishan, Jackie, goes to their marriage, and then he gets a call from Anna's bhai कि मूसा ने डबल क्रॉस कर दिया है. So then Jackie goes, drops in at the अड्डा and he's like, मैं वापस आता हूँ शाम में, मैं ज़्यादा शादी अटेंड करके आता हूँ अपने भाई की. And then he goes to his शादी. I don't think this is how gangsters function, do they? I mean, this is a
शादी
life or
रुकी हुई है
death.
यार.
And then Anna says कि तू जा अटेंड करके, जब तक तू आएगा दोपहर में मेरे को मूसा का पता चल जाएगा. You know, it's like, it's a little too convenient. I don't know.
And also मुझे
You
समझ में नहीं आया,
you can defend the movie if
नहीं,
you want.
नहीं, it's
मूसा
okay.
एंड में क्यों पलट गया? मूसा ने क्यों
Yeah,
बताया?
but
किधर
that was
पलटा?
my
मूसा
point.
किधर पलटा?
No, so his
अरे
theory
my
is
theory is कि start से that was his plan कि इसको
अच्छा,
ये
okay.
that
बताओ,
they'll
उसको
eat each
बताओ.
other and he'll be the last man standing,
अच्छा,
so that
okay.
everything is his, which I like.
And
which
I like
think
how
is-
Musa was being sarcastic also in the end. कि like मैं तुझे उसका नाम नहीं बता सकता क्योंकि मैंने उसका जबान दी है.
हाँ.
And then he's like, you guess. And then वो डमशराज they have this little play where he's like, I'll tell you clues. उसने किस को मारा है. And then on the basis of that, नाना पाटेकर guesses. So मूसा technically उसने अपना promise ये किया कि मैंने तेरा नाम आने नहीं दिया, but like उसने बता भी दिया. So ऐसे वो भगवान का बंदा है. So
मूसा सही है यार.
How glad, I
Musa
mean,
my
his name is
favorite
Musa,
character.
which is for Moses, so I guess नाम का असर.
Musa was also Lion King में villain का नाम.
That was
ना?
Mufasa.
Mufasa.
And he was not the
Mufasa
villain,
है.
he was the dad. who
Oh
dies.
yeah.
So two pieces of trivia which I found which are quite interesting. So apparently the family portrait of Anna, of his wife and son that the movie starts with, that he's standing in front of, is apparently Nana Patekar's real wife and kid, and that portrait is
Oh,
from
shit, क्या हरामी
1985.
आदमी है
And I
यार.
was like, yeah, how did Nana agree to this?
Yeah.
Because the backstory is really tragic and violent that he burnt his wife
Oh yeah,
and
I never
son.
understood this.
So
Exact
they've-
backstory क्या थी उसमें?
So they've
क्यों
left it
जलाया
an
था?
open ending where I think Iqbal, the character who's missing a leg, he, according to him, Anna killed his wife and son himself because he's just that much of a psycho. Whereas according to Anna, his wife committed suicide and the son died along with her because she set herself on fire.
I thought it was clear कि Anna killed.
Really?
Yeah, I thought because even the police says कि Anna is the one who killed. We don't have proof.
So
His
then वो
friends
अगर
know.
उसने खुद ही उसको आग लगाए तो आग से क्यों
क्यों
डरता है?
डरता है? हाँ.
नहीं, Jackie also knows. अरे वो तो होगा ना यार, मारने के बाद तो फिर भी
नहीं, अगर तू किसी को मारने
So
का
you are
प्लान
saying
बना
वो
रहा है,
चीखें सुनाई दे रही है ना
हाँ,
उसको,
आग लगाने के
Like,
बाद जब when he actually saw that visual of his
yeah, the
wife burning.
screams and everything which he keeps hearing every time he sees a fire.
yeah, वो भी nicely utilized in the climax. वो
With the lighter.
We'll come to the climax.
वो काफी सही था वो.
Sudarshan
I
is
really-
obsessed with
it
the
is
lighter.
one of my
Lighter.
favorite
So-
climax
so-
scenes. Damn.
MVP of the movie for Sudarshan is the lighter.
The lighter.
Because
क्या
in
आर्क
the
है?
climax में ना
And-
वो लाइटर डालता है एंड देन वो ट्यून प्लेस राइट, जो प्यार से जीतेंगे दुनिया को हमारे, बट वो प्यार से नहीं जीतता है, वो तो वायलेंस से जीतता है.
हाँ.
देखो तुम आया ना लाइटर का आर्क आया ना यार.
So we'll come to that and the moment before that, which is very shocking. Another interesting fact is, and this he says in the interview also, कि Vidhu Vinod Chopra referred to paintings of Van Gogh, Da Vinci and Rembrandt to get the visual look of the film. So he says that that's his starting process. When he thinks of a movie, he refers to paintings for the visual look that he would want.
Even for Eklavya.
Oh.
What painting did he look at for Eklavya?
Bhagavad Gita.
His children's school paintings. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Eklavya. But so coming to the climax, so the big shocking thing is that Anna actually kills Karan and the Madhuri character. What is her name in the movie? I forgot.
Paro.
Yes.
yeah.
अभी तो we had a
Yeah.
discussion.
He actually guns them down.
हाँ.
And this was not a normal thing in Indian films back then. You know, चाहे जितना भी हो जाए, you still had a happy ending. And I hadn't seen the movie. I did not know this ending. And
Even I didn't
I
know.
was genuinely shocked.
Yeah.
I was
Even
like,
I was shocked.
and again in the interview, Vidhu Vinod Chopra says कि one of the theatre distributors from Punjab called him and he says कि पाजी दंगा हो जाएगा थिएटर में, सब लोग बोल रहे हैं कि वो ड्रीम सीक्वेंस है, अब इनको पता चलेगा ड्रीम सीक्वेंस है तो वो तोड़ फोड़ कर देंगे. And even when I saw it for the first time, I thought I'm sure Kishan is dreaming this.
And सुहागरात करते हुए मार देता है. That was the worst part.
पर क्या सुहागरात दिखाया यार. तुम लोग गलत मत समझो.
इसी का रील बनेगा.
देखो यार शैडो, अरे शैडो दिख रहा है. मैं आर्ट तुम लोग
Of course, अभी नहीं
Obviously.
Sure, yes.
like
It is
with
because it
blue
is-
light आ रहा है
Because it
हल्का
is
सा.
much easier to like make shadows kiss than actual people. No. ऐसे तो
No,
shadows
actual people
हमारे
also kissed. No,
There
they
is
just
this-
showed the
Yeah,
shadow.
yeah.
Whole extended scene before that where for some reason he's trying to undo her nightgown and he's playing with the lace and then she goes and undresses herself. Did you guys not see this? Why are
I
you
see.
staring at
Yeah. Saw this.
ये मैंने नहीं
So you
देखा.
get it,
तुम लोग तुम हो यार
No.
गलत देखो. मैं तो
So there is
हाँ.
this whole
shadow देख रहा हूँ मैं.
there is this whole extended sequence of the chest being used as an erotic vehicle and then a few seconds later that same chest gets ridden with bullets.
Oh.
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And also I noticed how in all the old movies जब भी ना sex scene या कुछ भी anything related to sex होने वाला होता है, so ना the actor is all like has lust in his eyes, but the actress for some reason she looks like she's doing this like as a way of compromise. उसकी शक्ल पे वो
Why
sex
do you
नहीं
think
दिख रहा
that
है.
is, Urjita?
I don't like everybody has the expression of Aishwarya Rai in Hum Dil De Chuke Se I'm going कि यही जिस सब है क्या. And even Madhuri Dixit was like अरे तेरे consent के साथ हो रहा है ना, तो तेरी थोड़ा तो smile कर.
Do you
Just
think
smile
that
a little.
that might have
Smile well कहाँ दिख रहा था यार.
that might
मतलब shadow था.
have to do with the fact that
सिर्फ शैडो नहीं था, दिखाए थे उन दोनों के. अरे माधुरी ब्रा में दिखाई थी यार, क्या बात
मैंने
कर
कल नहीं देखा था, मैं पहले गई.
तूने
wow. Yeah, Sudarshan got the edited version.
Yeah,
No, but do you
बच्चे
think
को
that
यही
might have
दिखाएंगे.
to do with the fact that film sets are 99% men and
Yeah,
Right.
maybe.
there is, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the New Year sequence. The climax of the film is this New Year celebration at the Gateway of India. Apparently they shot on two consecutive New Year nights. Picture बनने में इतना time लग गया कि 88 का New Year Eve और 87 और 88 दोनों का New Year Eve they
Wow.
shot, and they shot on location. And there is this scene where when Kishan finds out that his brother has been shot down, he yells out in pain, in agony. And right after that, again, speaking of sound cuts, there is this thing where a police wala is doing a lathi charge and the crowd disperses, right? So, again, Vidhu Vinod Chopra said that they bribed a cop and they actually went on top, near the top of the gateway. And he said कि मैं एक झंडा फैलाऊंगा, जब मैं झंडा फैलाऊंगा तो आप लाठी चलाना ताकि ये crowd disperse हो जाए. Because he wanted to show that this anguish and agony is so raw कि उसकी वजह से पूरा बॉम्बे हिल गया है.
And they didn't have the budget.
And they didn't have the budget to hire extras.
तो जो patchwork था, they had to wait for one whole year
yeah.
and then shoot it.
That reminds me, I think he has some strange obsession with pigeons because ये जो pigeon, using pigeon as a tool, ये I just remember
42 में भी है.
लगे रहो मुन्ना भाई, और मुन्ना भाई BBS में भी है. जब भी किसी को मारता है कि या कोई चिल्लाता है जोर से, तो वो ऐसे पिजन्स का उड़ते हुए विजुअल और साउंड दिखाते हैं.
अरे 1942 में भी तो पिजन्स है.
हाँ.
मनीषा कोइराला खेलती रहती है पिजन्स के.
And you know
nice.
what? In the year that Parinda came out, the Filmfare Award was won by Maine Pyar Kiya, which also had pigeons.
Nice. Pigeons are the real winners.
Yes.
Pigeons
So
are
let's get
lighters.
to your notes, Sudarshan.
Okay.
What's the stuff that you have that
I'll just-
you
I
would
think
like?
we-
Is
Once I've
that the
covered-
reason why Mumbai has so many pigeons? Because उनको भी लगता है बॉम्बे सपनों की नगरी है. ये पिजन को मिल गया, हमको भी काम मिल ही जाएगा.
ये सब क्वेश्चंस आंसर हो गया. ना वो बॉम्बे वाला भी कवर हो गया सब.
This is now an ornithology podcast.
Thank God I know the meaning.
Are you not able to read
Yeah,
your
so Jackie
handwriting?
Shroff had 4 shirts. Jackie Shroff wasn't paid for the film.
Oh yes, so there is
NFDC
yeah.
contract.
No, so when Jackie came on board, Anil convinced him to come on board, and he told Jackie कि तू उतना ही डिमांड करना जितना मुझे मिल रहा है. But apparently Vinod Chopra went behind Anil's
Yeah.
back saying कि थोड़ा फीस स्लैश कर दो ना, पैसा थोड़ा कम है.
But उसके अलावा भी I think he was supposed to receive the payment after the completion of the
Okay.
film.
So apparently Jackie agreed, and then he told Anil कि
Anil
मैं-
told him कि price थोड़ा ज़्यादा मांगो तो मैं भी मांग सकता हूँ.
हाँ, but then Vinod Chopra convinced Jackie to slash his price, which he
Oh,
agreed,
this
and
I
Anil did not know. And then when Anil came to know about this, again he went back to Vinod Chopra saying this is unfair and you should pay him as much as you paid me. That's what the story
Oh,
goes.
nice. I didn't know this. Okay. हाँ, paintings वाला तो भी spoke. People running short in New Year. There is a red dish.
I had not seen these notes before. Just want to put it out there.
I mean, we saw the same video, so
Yeah,
सब
maybe.
तो मामी से आया है अभी.
मैं और अब्बास हम दोनों जादूगर किलेश यादव है.
No, but there is that. Should we talk about that aperture वाला thing? But we mentioned Mami
we
so
can.
many times. I think people must just वहीं जाके देख लो यार. रहने दो अभी. सुरेश ओबेरॉय flute. सुहाग रात. It's there. Then apparently Nana and Vinod had a lot of fights.
Oh really?
Like proper physical fights on
Oh.
set. Yeah, Jackie mentioned this somewhere in an interview. कि वो दोनों झगड़ रहे थे हाथ पैर से. अपन तो अपने को क्या एक्टिंग नहीं आता. So उसका था.
Who do you think won in those fights?
I
Nana?
think
I think the movie got completed, so with who?
yeah, the movie one, the lighter
The movie
one.
the lighter one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shiv Kumar wrote the screenplay. R.D. Burman I think was the best यार. हम लोग थोड़ा we
No, I mean
Give
he's
him
a
the-
legend. So what else can we say about
yeah.
him?
Even though he
You've
copied
given-
the song, but
Sure, I agree. This song is better than the one he
Yeah.
copied.
I
from.
didn't know
And
कि-
he's copied before. He's copied songs from ABBA and also.
But
so
I like how R.D. Burman का story ऐसा है कि even though he was way past, there was a time in his career after his prime that people had stopped giving him work,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
yet
yeah.
people think of him as a legend, like
Yeah,
even now.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
feel
yeah.
like that there's a lesson for all the artists to take here कि you just need to kill it at some part in your life, so that उसके आगे पीछे क्या होता है doesn't matter, but वो वाले part में तुम इतना kill करो कि लोग तुम्हें याद रखे, just for that part.
Okay.
yeah, we covered everything. Yeah.
Covered
Yeah, I
everything,
don't know
yeah,
how
there's
6
nothing
pages
left.
worth of material we just covered it. Okay.
So now we come to the verdict. We do a rewatchability.
Climax sequence discuss नहीं किया.
Which the New Year's Eve, right?
New Year's Eve.
Oh yes, the climax where there is a one-on-one between Kishan and Anna.
Oh
And,
shit, I forgot
yes.
ये है. For me
Which-
this doesn't.
Which is, I would say, one of the most unique climaxes that I've seen, where Anna brings a tray full of alcohol. They first have a lot of altercation and chillam chilli, where Anna puts his point of view across कि मैंने तुझे बोला था कि पहले उसको मार देना, और धंधे में कोई भाई बंधु बेटा नहीं होता है.
Yeah.
And then the lighter comes out because Anna never lights.
Okay, now I think. Okay,
Oh,
now I
lighter
figured.
आ
Hold on. Now I think now I figured.
घुमा फिरा के I think lighter is the main
Sorry,
character. of
lighter
Parinda.
नहीं. I think now I figured.
Lighter क्यों नहीं?
I think now I figured कि नाना की वाइफ का वो सब स्टोरी क्यों है. he uses that story to tell others कि देखा मेरी खुद की बीवी बेटे मर गए तो तेरा भाई क्या चीज है,
which is what he says. He says it in the
as
movie.
a
Yeah.
leverage.
Yeah.
Maybe they are still alive. They are maybe at some
Yeah.
farmhouse.
Yeah.
कि-
And also I don't understand how why Nana Patekar like is एक तो he's scared of fire ठीक है चलो, but why is he letting everybody else know? क्योंकि फिर if he is scared of fire then it is so easy to kill him or just like take advantage of him. तुम उसको बुलाओ
वो
गणपति,
इतना ऐसा सब
तुम
करने में क्या है?
how to scare Nana, just call him for Ganpati Puja, make him do the aarti, boom.
Oh yeah.
No, but I think that is the character trait के उसको इतना भरोसा है अपने डोमिनेंस पे कि उसको ये है कि कोई मेरे को धोखा दे ही नहीं सकता क्योंकि ये लोग मेरे इतने पैर के नीचे हैं.
In Marathi you say हातचं राखणं. There is this phrase I don't think there's any Hindi or English translation of it, but हातचं राखणं is basically कि तुम सामने वाले को, how do you buy people? You do something so big for them that they'll be unable to repay you back the favor. That is how तुम
And he
हातचं
keeps saying that, right? कि ठीक है अमेरिका गया, हाँ
Yeah.
ऐसा हमारी औकात नहीं थी फिर भी हमने भेजा,
हाँ
ठीक है.
वही, that's what.
Yeah.
So,
And even like when he Jackie first tells Nana कि मैं करण को ये सब में इन्वॉल्व नहीं करना चाहता, तो he gets offended कि अच्छा तुझे ये सब लगता है, do you think this is a dirty,
Yeah.
you want to keep him away from this?
Yeah, I mean, while watching, I thought कि, I mean, for that time का audience, this must be their Bhiku Matre. कि he's not there in a lot of the movie,
Yeah.
but the scenes that he is in, he's like this psychopath kind of a character.
Yeah.
And even in the climax, so जब वो बैठा है, he notices Jackie trying to kill him. He
No,
picks
that
the
whole
bottle.
thing where he's breaking the bottles is really
No,
impactful.
हाँ, but
Yeah.
Nana just looks at him and says, रुक जा, मत कर ये सब.
Hmm.
He knows he's trying to kill him, but
He's still
like
trying
the
to reason.
instinct would be to save, to pull out a knife or a gun.
Yeah.
But कुछ नहीं करता, वो बस बोलता है मत कर, तू पागल मत बन अपने भाई जैसे, because I am going to kill you.
Because exactly because उसको विश्वास ही नहीं था
विश्वास
ये
है,
कर
कर सकता है ये.
That is why he was like, "ये छोड़ना है क्या, पागल है क्या, ये मजनू क्या है, पागल है
हाँ.
क्या, ऐसा है, भाई को मारेगा वो." And I think most of these gangsters and big people, half the time they die in disbelief.
हाँ.
कि ये मेरे साथ कैसे, like imagine वो उनका इधर तक जब तक आँख की लपटें उठती नहीं तब तक उसकी आंखों में disbelief ही है. आधे से ज्यादा तो उसी की वजह से वो मरते हैं rather than the actual thing.
There is just one fact, Colonel
Yes.
H.L. Saluja नाम के कोई है
हाँ.
जो executive producer या कुछ है, and he also plays the bartender in some scene. I
Oh,
don't
yes.
know if I couldn't find whether he's related to the editor or not.
Okay.
So if someone can find, I
No,
don't know.
there-
This
I
is
mean,
just one incomplete fact that I have.
Sudarshan is the only guest जो audience को homework देके जा रहा है.
CTA एक दे रहा हूँ
ये
मैं.
मामी का वीडियो भी देखो, ये बारटेंडर का ना भी डीएफ करो.
हाँ.
So, but then the climax is then he breaks all the alcohol bottles and there is alcohol everywhere on the floor. और फिर वो tray गिरा देता है, the whole room catches fire, and that's how the movie ends, right? That's the last that's thing we see. Yeah.
No. The movie ends at his pyre. मतलब
हाँ.
Anil और
Anil
because
and
fire,
Madhuri's,
lighter, end.
Wow. Fire, lighter end. That should have been the tagline of Parinda. But yeah, I mean, all said and done, the ending did take me by surprise. I hadn't seen the film, so props to Vidhu Vinod Chopra for that ending. And now let's do the rewatchability scale on a scale of 1 to 10. Sudarshan, if you had to rate the movie.
Sorry.
Yes.
Another thing I just noticed. You know how we were drawing parallels between Sanjay Leela Bhansali movies and Parinda? Another parallel. When Sanjay Leela Bhansali must have seen Jackie Shroff throwing those bottles passionately, he was like कि तू यही काम देवदास में भी करेगा.
शीशे से शीशा टकराए.
हाँ यार. अरे बंसाली परिंदा ही बनाया वापस.
Do you know in that again? Sorry, Urjita, but in an interview, Jackie says that Bhansali was really shy and quiet associate director, and he was doing some scene where Vidhu Vinod Chopra was not on set, so Bhansali was essentially the one running the set. And retake में कुछ तो भी हुआ and Jackie Shroff was like, अरे मेरे मुंह से कुछ मौशी निकला रहेगा. और उसको इतना बुरा लगा, वो गायब हो गया. दूसरे दिन मेरे को विधु विनोद चोपड़ा फोन करके बोलते तूने क्या बोला मेरे एसोसिएट डायरेक्टर को, वो गायब हो गया एकदम. So yeah, he has taken his share of abuse from
उसको लगा ये वापस काम नहीं करेगा मेरे साथ.
Because संजय लीला भंसाली ने विनोद चोपड़ा और नाना पाटेकर को लड़ते हुए देखा था. He was like, are you trying to create the same dynamic? संजय लीला भंसाली ये बाबा मैं नहीं है इस सब and yeah, I think
But I like how
That's not how Bhansali
I don't want to like give him a Bengali accent because that would be stereotyping.
to Bhansali.
Bhansali
Bhansali
is
is a
not
Guju.
Bengali.
He's a Guju. Oh.
Yeah. Okay. But I like how for Jackie Shroff now Maushi has become a code word for गाली.
गाली
मेरे
एक
मुंह से
class
मौशी
बोलो क्या
मौशी.
बर्मन वाला
हाँ,
एक
बोल
और
ना.
याद आ गया.
हाँ.
अरे आरडी बर्मन ना ये अपना तुमसे मिलके when he was recording. So apparently NFDC का कुछ problem हो गया. They said we aren't making the film or this is not happening. And again आरडी बर्मन का low face, उसका insecurity सब कुछ है. And he had already started working on the music, वो brother वाला song, which is the main theme, and they were supposed to record it. Vinod Chopra goes to him and says कि this film is not happening, so don't work on it. And I think the next day R.D. Burman calls him and says कि मेरी एक film की recording है, तू आ जा उसमें. He said कि नहीं mood नहीं है अभी, क्या हूँ किधर आऊँ. बोले नहीं मेरी एक film है परिंदा. R.D. Burman says this to him and he I think made it like recorded it on his own expense या ऐसा कुछ.
Oh, okay.
कि he just wanted to do it. Maybe insecure था क्या पता. But ये एक story कोई random interview में.
I feel like you really want to get behind the story of
R.D.
R.D.
Burman.
Burman.
Yeah, R.D. Burman's story is interesting. Yeah.
There is a movie
It's,
called Saaz, starring Shabana Azmi and Zakir Hussain.
Zakir Hussain
the tabla player.
tabla player. Okay.
And one more actress. So Shabana Azmi and the other actress are supposed to be Lata Mangeshkar and Asha Bhosle, and Zakir Hussain is supposed to be the R.D. Burman character. They don't name them that, but it's supposed to be that same. The movie is
Random चीज याद आ गया मुझे.
called. बोलना.
So I met Zakir Hussain.
Oh really?
So I used to play tabla for 6 years. I
Okay.
thought I'll be a tabla player.
Okay.
Hair बन गया
Sorry.
बस. तो मैं ऐसा बचपन में
हाँ.
मिला जाकिर हुसैन in his green room.
Hmm.
And I shook hands with him. सब लोग रुके थे ऐसे वेट कर रहे थे. I didn't know what to say. तो मैंने बोला all the best.
एटलीस्ट वहाँ ताज तो नहीं बोला ना. ठीक है. And what did he respond?
He said, oh thank you और आसपास सब हंसने लग गए. बच्चा था यार. क्या बोलूँ.
I think Zakir Hussain sabotaged your tabla playing career after that. कि ये कल का बच्चा मुझे बोलेगा all the best.
तभी तो यार अभी कोई नहीं.
Sudarshan does look like the kind of guy who would go around hands up last.
That's what you say ना एग्जाम से पहले. But उसका एग्जाम नहीं था.
Very innocent, very.
Okay, चलो अभी तीसरी बार मैं ट्राई करता हूँ रेटिंग का on a scale of 1
Oh
to
shit,
10.
हाँ okay.
1 being it's aged very badly and it's not rewatchable at all. 10 being के अरे जितनी बार देखो उतना और अच्छा लगता है. Where would you how would you rate
10.
10 on
या
10?
मैं शमशेरा को भी 10 देता हूँ यार.
So which is the movie you don't give a 10? Did you just yawn, Urjita, in the middle of a recording?
जब भी कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड बढ़ जाता है तो यार.
Right.
That's not. But I like how Sudarshan by claiming कि मैंने शमशरा को भी 10 देता हूँ. He just said कि उसको शमशरा भी in general बकवास लगी थी इसने 10 दिया था. So if you
Yeah.
think about it,
नहीं, आप
You
Yeah.
at once gave Parinda a perfect score but then shat on it the next
No,
one.
Yeah, that's
no, you
what.
are reading too much into it यार क्या.
So you are saying you generally like
No, I like-
most films.
yeah, most
Okay.
Sudarshan is like, you're reading too much into it. We are just friends.
Urjita,
ऐसे बोला.
your rating?
6.
6. For me also it's a solid 6. I think it technically is aged very well. Story
What would be a
wise,
9, 8?
So I'll tell you, we've given Rang De Basanti, I gave 9.
10, I gave 10.
She gave 10, the guest also gave 10. Dil Chahta Hai also I think we gave somewhere around 9,
10, 9 and 10
9.5,
only,
10.
yeah.
The only movie where, this is the second movie that we've given less than 8.
What's the other film?
Sanjay Leela Bhansali's Devdas.
Yeah.
Oh. ये आप वो अभी नेक्स्ट यू पिक अ मोटवाने फिल्म वो एडी वाला वो पूरा आप सब
Circle
के
complete
नीचे
हो
दे दो.
जाएगा.
हाँ.
Yeah.
No, it's not it's very watchable. It's very, I'm not saying it's a bad film, but it's for that time it was revolutionary, but we've seen so many things since
Right.
then.
I like how I like the male-oriented movies for only one reason क्योंकि उसमें glaring sexism दिखाई नहीं देता कि औरत है ही नहीं कैसे दिखाएंगे.
हाँ.
So
हाँ.
that is why I like them कि है भी तो पता नहीं चल रहा है. So
हाँ.
Okay, that brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you, Sudarshan, so much for joining us. I was trying to figure out
Yeah,
which camera
I'm
is
looking at
yours.
this one तब से.
That's
You
your
are looking at this.
तेरा वाला वो कैमरा है.
हाँ मेरे को पता है, मेरे को अभी रियलाइज हुआ, मैं तो इधर से
We all have our cameras.
मेरे को
That's
मैं
okay.
छुप भी रहा हूँ यार ऐसे. I thought कि अरे क्यों छुप रहा हूँ?
That's okay. Sudarshan, anything you want to plug? Where can one find you on Instagram or Twitter? Please go ahead.
I think just sudo on both Twitter and Instagram.
Okay.
PSEUDO, INSUDO.
And not viral.
Not viral तो ऐसे खुद से चल रहा है.
But it's a very funny page and please check it out. And Urjita, anything you want to plug? Your social media handles?
At the rate Urjita Vani on Instagram, and I'm a stand-up comedian, so you guys can check out my shows happening all over Mumbai. All over Mumbai तो ऐसे बोलती जैसे नालासोपारा में भी हो रहा है. नहीं guys, predominantly Bandra Andheri.
It's okay, yaar. Now Thane also has
Yeah,
stand-up
Thane
comedy.
also. Sorry, Thane also.
And my name is Abbas. You can follow me on Twitter at Abbas Momin and on Instagram at Abbas Momin88. Do subscribe to this channel, the IVM Pop channel, if you're watching this on video. If you're listening to it as an audio podcast, do rate us, review us, and check out the other shows that are on this feed as well. And do check out the Satya episode we did with Sankalp Rastogi, because I think it's a good companion piece to Parinda, and all the relevant links will be in the description. So until next time, we will see you again. Thank you once again, Sudarshan. Thank you, Urjita. And with that, we'll signing off. Bye-bye.